In art, the word hue is a general term for color, but confusingly, when it comes to paint colors, it can also mean a color that's made with alternative pigments to mimic a pigment that's toxic, fades easily, is expensive, or obsolete. In this example, I'm comparing my cadmium yellow medium and my cadmium yellow medium hue. You can see they look very close, but the true pigment has a higher tinting strength and costs a lot more. So basically, if you have a hue, it's not actually containing the original pigment, but it comes very close. In most cases, the word hue is right there in the paint color's name. But it's not always that easy. You may actually have more hues than you think. Like any Naples yellow is technically a hue, as the original pigment is discontinued, so companies don't bother to put it in the name. Also, you may have paint colors that have the words new, extra, or permanent in the paint color names. These may also be hues that are made to replace and outperform original fugitive pigments. Fugitive pigments are ones that fade easily when exposed to environmental elements like sunlight. Reds, like alizarin crimson, are notoriously fugitive, so you may instead use a hue, permanent alizarin crimson, which is actually made with a different pigment, one that's more modern and more strong. I also used the paint color Vermilion Extra, which leans orange like the original Vermilion, but it's made with also a strong modern pigment. You'll find hues in all kinds of paint, whether watercolor, oil, or acrylic, because it's to do with the actual pigment. If you want to tell for sure if your color is a hue, you can check the pigment codes on the back of the tube. These codes will tell you exactly what pigments your paint color contains. But another way to tell is by the size of the hole in your wallet. Many student quality paints will use hues simply to keep the cost of the paint down. But though hues are less expensive, they're not necessarily inferior. In fact, sometimes they may have attributes that you prefer. But the reality is that it's important to know which of your colors are hues because they still behave differently than the originals. I compared cadmium yellow medium and cadmium yellow medium hue as an example, and you can see that the consistency of the paints, though they're made by different paint manufacturers, are different. My cadmium yellow medium original is by Old Holland, which make typically thicker paints, but you can see that the hue is a little more transparent and buttery. I also find that the tinting power of the original is more strong. You'll be able to use your paints better if you have an awareness of when you're using the original pigments and a hue, and you'll be able to use the strengths and weaknesses of each to your advantage. Also, you'll keep your eyes out for different companies who might use a different recipe to create their hue, so you'll be more aware when buying paints that you're actually buying the same color that you enjoy. We're a lot luckier than the old masters when it comes to the paint colors that are available to us, but it does mean we have to be a bit more careful when we're buying colors that we're actually getting what we think we are.